Number 6. It is conventional wisdom that you should learn to walk before you can run. And Monster Hunter went from walking to attempting to swim. And for that reason, underwater combat was a bit of a mixed bag when it was attempted in Monster Hunter Tri. However, the Lord of the Ocean received no such middling reception. Lagiacrus, flagship of Monster Hunter Tri, ranks amongst the most beloved monsters the franchise has to offer. This love, I think, comes down to his overall quality, his prolonged absence, and the potential of the idea he represents. Underwater combat was and is a worthwhile endeavor, a predominantly untapped well of ideas, and in underwater combat's somewhat failure came a sort of reset, a slow recreation of three-dimensional hunting that starts with ledge hopping in 4 and has turned into wire bugs and Rise. I think this is partially Lagiacrus' legacy. A dragon not of the air or earth but of the sea, who rules over the endless depths with wrath and lightning, as well as the excellent catalog of leviathans and aquatic elder dragons who arrived with him in the 3rd generation, were such fantastic ideas that lacked the necessary execution. Thus, Monster Hunter has gone backwards in recent years, slowly and meticulously building three-dimensional combat back up. Can I prove that this is building to the inevitable return of aquatic encounters? No. But I am confident that the under-delivering of the promise of Lagiacrus is somewhat responsible for the steady growth and experimentation and exploration into vertical gameplay that we've been seeing in the games ever since 4. Right now, a big part of Lagiacrus' charm is that he is kind of an underdog, a monster we're all rooting for to come back. We know by now that he's had issues with his skeleton and animations in accordance to the less flat terrain that Monster Hunter has nowadays. Additionally, reintroducing underwater combat would likely be a massive undertaking. We almost got him back in Monster Hunter World. We were very close to having him. Beforehand, we got a fairly decent version of him in Generations, where they more or less used the traditional Lagiacrus colors with some of the moves of Ivory Lagiacrus, but he's not as good as the subspecies was. There's so much that's been getting in his way, and we've been waiting for that grand return, that heroic reprisal. Now, you might be asking, okay, that's nice and all, but if so much of Lagiacrus hinges on how much people want him back and the games he hasn't been a part of, if so much is rooted in potential, why is he on this list at all, let alone in the top half? Well, that's because not only does Lagiacrus have a major role to play in underwater combat's mechanical legacy, not only is he probably the most rooted for monster in the franchise currently, not only is he a childhood favorite for a ton of us who started with Tri, but undelivered or not, Lagiacrus is already really good. Boasting a phenomenal design, a host of gorgeous electrical attacks, a menacing visage, lovely looking gear, and 2 exceptional variations, Lagiacrus could certainly benefit from a grand return to form, but he's not in desperate need of it. The King of the Seas is exemplary. Though not incredibly over the top, Lagiacrus is stunning to behold in combat, conjuring unyielding waves of brilliant electrical discharges, and swimming with grace and speed that no human could ever emulate. Not to mention, I think Lagiacrus holds the crown for having the scariest quest of any Monster Hunter game. Way in the beginning of Tri, where you've only barely begun the game. You're tasked with tracking down some aquatic herbivores. You don't see too many in the first zone that has water in it, so you swim to the next, only to find that a Lagiacrus has beaten you to your targets, killing them instantly, and is now looking straight at you. And you have no real armor or weapons, and you're in the middle of the ocean, with no dry land in the zone. And you really start to remember just how small you are. So you turn tail, swim as fast as you can, leave the zone behind you, and he comes following after you, chasing you all the way to the beach and stalking the shores, daring you to come back in. I swear, I was so terrified of this quest as a kid that I put Monster Hunter Tri down for a couple of days. Throughout the rest of the lower levels of Tri, he is a looming force that you will have to face twice more, finally surpassing him in a duel when you have reached his level, not so small and not so helpless anymore. It is a tried and true formula for flagships that we have seen again and again and again, being introduced earlier on in the game, menacing and overpowering you, only to perhaps show up again once more, and then finally you have your fated duel towards the back half of the story. Yeah, Tigrex technically did the pop in on an early quest thing first, but that quest was way less frightening, and there's no middle battle between the two of you. You and Tigrex go 2 rounds, you go against Lagiacrus 3 times. Definitely executed a little bit better here. Lagiacrus is utterly unforgettable. From his design, to his roar, to his battle, to the mere image of him drifting in the dark of the sea, he is king. King of the sea, king of the Leviathans, king of the 3rd generation of Monster Hunter, and honestly, I think he's Rathalos' most interesting rival monster. From the entire underwater mechanic, to the whole of the Leviathan category, to the reassessment of 3-dimensional combat in the series, to the shallow water duels of the 5th generation, the legacy of Lagiacrus in his domain, I believe, have permanently altered the course of Monster Hunter, and he stands on his own despite even that as a phenomenal work of creature design. He has been missing for a while now, but not all who wander are lost, and one day, the crownless shall again be king.